Wow, the beautiful Hertford Basin. And what on earth could I be doing up here, close to the source of the New River? So 10 years after I first set out to walk the New River path, I'm finally doing it. I'm finally taking on the challenge, although that day my intention was to try and walk the whole thing in one day, or certainly most of it. It's 29 miles. I'm not that foolish 10 years later. So I'm going to break it up over at least 2, possibly 3 days. Just take it gentle, enjoy it. And we'll tell the story of the new. If you're thinking, what on earth is he doing? This is an aqueduct that was built in 1613 to supply London with fresh drinking water. But we'll talk about that. We've got 2 days to talk about it. So the 29-mile odyssey from the River Lea, New Gage House, just up here, to Islington. Yeah, it's just along here. It's just about a mile from Hertford East Station. So we're looking for the actual start of the walk, really. And that walk 10 years ago did turn into a 23-mile epic, but it was from Leytonstone to Ware, along the River Lea and through Waltham Abbey. It was a great walk. I'll link to that below. And I couldn't have wished for a better late September day to do this walk. Absolutely perfect. And I can see New Gage House there across this meadow, and that's the official start of the walk. But I think we'll walk there via the River Lea, because we'll be leaving it at that point. Can I say just how absolutely glorious it is to be out here this morning? Such a beautiful day. There's the smell of wood smoke on the towpath. It's perfection.
The population boom during the Elizabethan era meant London needed new supplies of fresh drinking water. An Act of Parliament of 1570 gave permission to create a river from any part of Middlesex or Hertfordshire to bring water to the city. A river was proposed to bring water from the Colne at Uxbridge. This never came to anything, but a couple of centuries later, this became the route of the Paddington arm of the Grand Junction Canal. In 1600, Edmund Colthurst proposed to create a channel to bring water from springs at Chadwell and Amwell in Hertfordshire. The Corporation of London was reluctant to invest in Colthurst's scheme, and instead left it to private investors to pick up the bill. In 1609, Hugh Myddleton, a London goldsmith, became a principal investor in the scheme, and it's his name that's forever attached to the New River rather than that of Colthurst, which does feel a bit harsh. The New River was completed in 1613.
It still provides somewhere around 8 to 10% of London's drinking water this very day, which is mad, over 400 years later. And Thames Water have now created a fantastic path that follows the length of the New River, from here at New Gage on the River Lea down to the New River head in Islington, which is magnificent. I hope I can get it into 2 days. If not, it'll be a lovely languid 3 days. I've got a leaflet by Thames Water here, so if anyone queries the route or anything, I don't know how old this is. This might date from when I lived in Islington 20 years ago. So this brick building here, called New Gage House, controls the intake of up to 102 megalitres of water a day that's drawn from the River Lea and drawn into the New River to supplement the amount of water that's taken from Chadwell Spring, because the demand was much greater than the spring alone could provide. The first intake valve was created in the early 18th century, I think 1732, and this building was built in 1856. So the New River path starts here. I'm finally doing it. And you can see here on the map, it gives us the information that the New River is neither new nor a river, but in fact an aqueduct, starting here and ending down at Islington. And hopefully we'll get to somewhere between Cheshunt and Waltham cross with a bit of luck. And the meads here are managed as a flood meadow, creating a really kind of unique wetland habitat. So we'll have to look out for more of these as the day goes on. I'm not sure you can see the letters because of the sun, but it says NRC, which I think the cryptologist in me would tell me that that's New River Company. What an idyllic spot. It's interesting to consider how we're going to end this walk down in the hustle and the bustle of Islington. So I wonder if the YouTube hive mind, the Collective Brains Trust, can help me with this. There is a string of bells between these two posts. What's that about? There is a really lovely smell along here because they're out cutting the grass and the weeds beside the riverbank here. And it's the second time I've seen people doing that along the New River. It's really lovely. I just had to bend under some trees and it brought me quite close to the water, and it's interesting how shallow the water is here. That's the train you can hear rattling along behind me. But the water is very shallow. It looks like it might be a little more than, say, 8 inches deep here. So we may have hit a stumbling block here actually. Here's the railway line, and I did meet a walker who said that he thinks they shut the path off. Sort of a horrible feeling. Yes, the pedestrian crossing has been closed. Well, that's a pain. That's possibly what someone warned me about, and I couldn't find the message. Okay. First problem encountered about using a very old map. Also, I think this would postdate my OS map. But at least it's easy to know. I only got one option, that's to go back. So this walk is, it's long enough as it was. Now I've added a bit more to it. As far as I can see, I've got to double back all the way back to Newgate and go around to Ware and then try and get the path from there. It's a bit annoying they don't have anything at the start of the path, so please note that would be useful, Thames Water, whoever manages this. Oh well, is what it is, the walk is the walk and all that. Starting to feel like a slightly cursed journey because I had some significant audio issues at the start of the walk. I had to swap out mics and that nearly didn't work. And now this. I'm not going to let it stop me. This is all part of the challenge. It's such a beautiful day as well. Onwards. It's just significantly longer onwards. What can you do? It's a beautiful day. Back to the beginning of the walk, and whoever manages this path, that's the place to have a little sign up there saying, hey, just so you know, you can't get across the railway line. This section of the River Lea between Ware and Hertford is one of my favourite walks anyway, so I should see it as a blessing that I get to do this as a bonus for today rather than a curse. So I think I can cross the railway line here and get to the path. This is what we needed at the other end. It shows you here actually, look. Never mind. This is great. Here, look, they've got signs for Ermine Street cutting across London that way and Lincoln the other way. Londinium and Lindum Colonia. Isn't that fantastic? So we'll go across Kingsmead Nature Reserve here. Worst case scenario, I don't have to double back very far if the crossing's closed. I'm sanguine about it now. So the gate is open. Always a little bit nerve-wracking crossing railway lines like this, but looks clear that way, clear this way. I can see the next pumping station. Wonder if that little white cottage over there has something to do with the New River. And here we are, back on the New River, 2.25 hours after I originally left Hertford. But there you go, like we always like to say, the walk is the walk. Question is, which side do I stay on? This side, I think. And this timber building here is White House Sluice. What a lovely building. And I nearly pushed on without at least looking in the direction of Chadwell Spring, the original source of the New River, which I believe is over here. So this quite large, I would call this a lake, appears to be where Chadwell Spring is. I was under the impression it was a much smaller basin of water, but I shall look this up when I get back. Already there'll be people thinking I'm an enormous fool for not knowing, but I wear my errors on my sleeve. This is Chadwell Spring down here. I can see the marble marker, not from here, but on the other side, which is, you can't do a New River walk if you don't go here. Well, the footpath has taken me up to the top of the hill above Chadwell Springs, but there is a view of the marble obelisk beside the spring and a clear view on that path back to the timber lodge down there, which is where I'm going now, a day of doubling back. So I think this is the clearest view I'm going to get of the stone over there, the marble. And I will put on the screen here what's inscribed on that stone, but that is such a significant point in the story of London. Without this supply of fresh drinking water in 1613, the expansion of London may have been halted. And this little spring here still yields 4.3 megalitres a day of water for London. Isn't that amazing? I've just spent so long trying to get a shot of Chadwell Spring, trying to get a clear shot of Chadwell Spring, I should say. And it's quite funny that I sort of feel like you have to. If you're going to come out here to do the New River Walk, you've got to get a view of that, because that's the whole reason that the New River is here. There is no New River without that spring. So the fact that my day now, I'm 3 hours into it. Ideally, I would have covered quite a few miles already by now. Bearing in mind a walking day when you're filming a walk, it takes twice as long as doing a walk as a note. So it's about 2 miles an hour to film a walk, as opposed to actually just doing a walk. But this could be a video in itself, like trying to get to Chadwell Spring, but it's not going to be. We're going to get to somewhere else today, and eventually we're going to get to the New River Head in Islington. So it's interesting, this timber-clad building here dates from 1746. This great marble slab here across the river, the marble gauge used to regulate the intake from the River Lea when it was put here in 1770. That job is now being done by a new gauge that we passed, right, feels like a lifetime ago, that dates from 1856. The question is though, what is this little statuette beside it? It looks like a mermaid on the back of a goat, unless I'm getting that wrong. This is Broadmead Pumping Station, which dates from 1885. There are a number of these along the route, really, really majestic buildings. Grade 2 listed, this one. So I've been walking about just under 3 hours now, and it feels like I'm finally on the move. We're on the way to Islington. And I haven't mentioned previously, but I wanted to walk from the source to Islington because I wanted to follow the flow of the water rather than go against the flow. It's nice to be walking in the direction of the directions for once. Excellent. Our first Hugh Myddleton reference there, the original chairman of the New River Company, Myddleton Road. It's interesting, it feels a while ago since we were on the other side of Ware, and now we're passing through the other end of Ware, heading out of Ware. Many a great walk has ended here, and a great walk is, just starting really. Along London Road. And my mate Nick Papademetrio would signal these out as classic Thames Water iron railings with the green paint. And here we have Amwell pumping station, which dates from 1868. And it's Amwell, which is where I believe we are now, that gives its name to the street where the New River Head and the New River Head Upper Reservoir are located in Islington, on Amwell Street. Quite why it's not Chadwell Street, I don't know. Back along a green path now, hopefully for the rest of the way. And here we have another one of those curious little sculptures. I wonder what they are. Someone is definitely going to know. I shall also look them up, but I trust your knowledge more. I should mention for the record, it's the 29th of September. Look, and I'm walking in a t-shirt, which is amazing. What's also amazing for me is to be doing this walk along the New River. Like I say, I set out 10 years ago, ended up walking along the River Lea and also a bit inland as well. And that's been the course I've taken on my walks up to Ware and Hertford, which I do at least once or twice a year. So this is a completely new aspect of what I thought was a familiar terrain. And also through London. I've not walked the New River path through London, so yeah, so like a holiday for me, this. And I think this is the first of the classic New River path signs that I've seen, because all the ones around Hertford and Chadwell Spring were all covered up in black plastic for some reason. It's just worked out that the next viable lunch stop is at St Margaret's, which is not too bad. Slightly late lunch, but it is what it is, right? Wow, it's so beautiful along here. So peaceful as well. And here we are at Amwell Islands. This stone monument here has a poem inscribed upon it titled Amwell. And two more of the lovely little sculptures that feel like kind of guardians of the walk, don't they? Here there are two mermaids. And on the second island we have another monument. This one's dedicated to Sir Hugh Myddleton. He seems to get all the New River attention, doesn't he? I think this path here takes us to Emma's Well, which is potentially the source, the original source of Amwell Spring. Wow, this is a magical little spot. It's great that it's open, that you can get down here. Look at this, Emma's Well, Amwell Spring, possibly. Beautiful. And I'm going to stay on the path rather than take the detour up to Amwell Church, but that does have some burials in it of the engineers, some of the engineers that worked on the New River and made various improvements in the 18th and 19th centuries. Just about to put my bag down on this bench, and look, isn't it lovely, this bit of metalwork beneath it with the letters NR, New River. How delightful. I wonder when that dates from. And this is Amwell Marsh pumping station, which dates from 1884. This beautiful little spot here marks the point where I can go down Stanstead Abbotts High Street and procure some rather late lunch. The Jolly Fisherman is a good place to stop for a pint on a River Lea walk. Too early for me, I'm not a daytime drinker. And the sacred River Lea is looking absolutely majestic today, isn't it? I wrote about Stanstead Abbotts in my book Welcome to New London. And if you're thinking, what has Stanstead Abbotts in Hertfordshire got to do with New London, you'll have to read the book. Cracking, full English breakfast, I know it's the afternoon, in the village pantry cafe. Very restorative. And we are now back on the New River path after that delightful short half-hour break. It's just coming up to 3:30. It's 3:25. And yeah, I don't know, obviously after the events of this morning, as we refer to them now, I had to recalibrate my expectations of how far I would get today, how much of the path I would do. So I don't really know. I had hoped to get somewhere between Waltham Abbey and Cheshunt, but I don't know if I will or not. Basically, I'm not going to drive myself into the ground because we'll be back tomorrow. And at this rate, possibly the day after for a short bit to the New River head at Islington. But it's all about enjoying the walk, right? If you're not enjoying the walk, then no point doing it. And this walk from afternoon into early evening is always my favourite bit of a walk, from the afternoon light to sunset. And funnily enough, it's when you're in these outer reaches at the beginnings of the New River, it's really sobering to think about the enormous impact it had on London, not just for the sake of the fresh drinking water, but the transfer of wealth and power to the investors in the New River Company, who became enormously wealthy. People sometimes paid with tracts of land for access to the water, and those tracts of lands were in open fields that became Mayfair, Soho, Belgravia, etc., etc. Wow, probably the most impressive pumping station yet, Rye Common pumping station, built in 1883. Looking out over what I guess must logically be Rye Common. The map will confirm this, of course. So we have to walk through this little strip of woodland here, St Margaret's community woodland. I do remember walking through here a few years ago, basically in the dark, walking in the other direction though. Just when it was going so well. Oh look, they're digging it up. Quite a long way down there. Oh well, I don't really have to find a detour, just go out and around again. It's all part of the experience, I suppose. Curiously, Google Maps shows this raised embankment here as a railway line, which is an interesting leg. I guess this was the old railway line that got shut at some point, maybe in the Beeching report. Interesting that it's still on Google Maps as a railway line though. Well, I mean, there is a railway line over there. I suppose that must be it. Even so, I think I've learnt my lesson from this morning, and I'm going to go out and around on the road, take a big loop round. Don't think I've got any choice. Well, I guess this is a new place for me. Something to be said for the detour. Wherever this is, we're in the borough of Broxbourne, but I'm not entirely sure which little neighbourhood we're walking through. I'll look that up. So Cranbourne Drive here should take us back to the New River. With a bit of luck, if they're not digging it up. Well, that was a short and painless detour, and I might find when I look at the map that it's actually marked. There is one section we have to go on a loop. Maybe that was it. Maybe I should have looked at the map again. This part of the towpath clearly belongs to the geese. Just hope they let me pass. Rye House station down there, and the pub nearby where I've ended a few walks there, as recounted in my book Welcome to New London. And again, yeah, you'll have to read the book to find out why I ended up in Rye House, the plotters and all that. What's interesting, I've done all those walks up the Lea Valley, so many. I've never walked back in the other direction, down the Lea Valley, back into London, not that I can think of, apart from the short section I did with Andrew Cotting and Ian Sinclair for Edith Walks, but that was not very far. Broxbourne pumping station, built in 1886. Another fine one. I've seen this one a few times. We're just into the last 2 hours of daylight now. And it's astonishing really to think that when I woke up on that December day 10 years ago, it was on the shortest day of the year, the winter solstice, and I got up when it was still dark to go to Islington and start the walk there. That was wildly ambitious on the shortest day of the year, wasn't it? Good job I actually changed my mind. I just made the fateful mistake of looking ahead at my phone to see where I am and how far away Waltham Cross is, and it looks so far away. It's the equivalent of climbing to a high point and looking down. Don't look down, don't look ahead, just keep walking. You'll notice there'll be a lot less commentary now and just where I'm just walking. But I'm distracted by the fact there's a goose here which is completely, oh no, it's just come up now, sorry, probably got self-conscious. It was underwater for ages though. There it goes again. Look, they're all doing it. And we're starting to get a few little wet sections of footpath. This is the wettest bit I've been through so far. You can imagine when it's been raining very heavily what it would be like. I think it rained last night though. And I've just realised how deep this is. This is over shoe depth, I think. This is another little part of the walk that is familiar to me from many Lee Valley walks. I always find this a very touching memorial here to Ben Mark Pegram. I was passing here once when people were holding a little vigil. It was very, very moving. Not far from Broxbourne station now, which is one of the significant markers for me. The rust on this old iron bridge here has a real kind of beauty to it, doesn't it? Something to this, is patina the right word? I don't know, but it's aesthetically quite pleasing to my eye anyway. I've walked 12.8 miles. I didn't want to look before, and I'm glad I didn't actually, because I think I'd have been a bit disappointed. But that's, yeah, with the bit where I went wrong, seems about right. Also getting to and from the station, all that kind of malarkey. But I'm feeling really a bit tired, but I'm determined to keep going. Broxbourne station, the good thing is there's stations, but after Broxbourne the next station I think is, I don't think there's another station till Cheshunt maybe, not sure. But I wanted to finish the Hertfordshire section because the map has broken down into 3 sections. The Hertfordshire section, which ends sort of, yeah, Cheshunt, Waltham Cross. The London section, which starts there and goes down to Woodbury Down, and then there's the heritage section, which is the last bit, which is no longer used, is ornamental. So yeah, I don't think I will finish the Hertfordshire section because of that mistake I made earlier on. It's funny, I need somewhere to have a little rest, have a sit down. And there's some benches down there in front of the station, but if I go down those stairs, psychologically that's the wrong move. You have to hope that somewhere I can perch right on the New River path. About an hour and a half of daylight now. So the map I've got must be slightly out of date because you could, yeah, according to that, there's an entrance to the path there. Clearly not there, so I'm going to have to go up here and see if I can cross over. So yeah, you just cut across this green here and there's the New River. There's the New River. There's Hoddesdon Church, which I think is what it is, just there on the other side. And most importantly, here we have a bench looking at the New River. I've only sat down for half an hour all day, so I deserve a little 5-minute rest, I think. So this is in fact the Grade 1 listed St Augustine's Church, Broxbourne.
dates from 1460, this building, but there's been a church on this site for much longer. There's one mentioned here in the Domesday Book of, I think that's 1068, isn't it, off the top of my head? This is a very pleasant scene where the New River runs across Broxbourne Green, if that indeed is what this is called, but I'm calling it that. What a lovely little spot, really lovely. And there's a great local history board here that actually says the Domesday Book is 1086. And the next station is at Cheshunt, so that's where I'm walking to regardless of how much energy I have or not. I think the New River is the longest way to get to Cheshunt station, so. We need to take a slight detour here. The path is running, I think, through back gardens, so we just go along the high road and around the block. It's not a massive detour, I don't think, or I hope not. Back to the river here. Very short detour indeed. Last hour of light now. Although the New River path is pointing up here. Can't argue with the signs. So I'm going to go down this gravel path, even though there is no signage. It looks like it's the right way to go. I hope this is correct. There are no directions in my guide as far as I can see, just the list of features, so this seems to be heading back to the New River. I asked a lady for directions. I just said, is this the way to the New River? And she went, where are you going? Like, London? She goes, oh, this goes to Brookfield Shops. I don't know. Look, it's pointing away from, it's like, this is mad, isn't it? Look up here, sorry. So we blatantly have the New River here, and there's a path there. The New River path signs, look, pointing in the other direction. What do I do? I am gonna walk on the path here beside the New River. I may regret that, but it wouldn't be here if you weren't supposed to walk along it, I don't think. Famous last words. You would have thought I would have learnt my lesson after what happened at the start of the day, but I feel pretty confident that up the end there is where the path brings you back to anyway. So, and oddly, at this end of that little path, look, there is a footpath sign pointing in that direction, so I'm not sure what's going on at the other end, but all is good now. And we can carry on along the New River path. We've got about half an hour till sunset. So this is very exciting here. I'm pretty sure what we have here is a Second World War pillbox, part of the outer London defence ring. Runs through this area. Wow, I've seen quite a few of them. Haven't seen this one before. Fantastic. Moving into the dying light now. And at this stage, every footstep is a step I don't have to retrace tomorrow from Cheshunt station, because it's not that close to the New River. This is possibly the most kind of modern terrain that we've moved through so far on the walk. I suppose a sign as we approach the fringes of London, how the landscape of the New River is going to change, become more urban. And I guess now we're moving into a landscape of underpasses. So I think this is our final bend of the New River for today, and I'll be back tomorrow, but we're not there yet. Still a little bit to go. So this is probably the best place for me to leave the New River path. And I will be back here tomorrow morning to continue my walk. I've got about a 45-minute road walk to Cheshunt station. I think I'm going to leave that out of the video, and I will pick it up tomorrow morning. If not here, then very close to here, because depending on what the journey is like to get to the road. So thanks for joining me on the first part of this epic walk along
the new river, the walk I've been meaning to do forever and a day. So I won't say if I look forward to seeing the next walk, wherever that may be. I look forward to seeing the next walk, which is here on the new river. And that video will be with you very shortly. You don't have to wait till next Sunday. It'll be with you before then.
It's over the meadow, over the stream. It's where I am going and where I have been. It's been a long day now. It's time for a bit